I just saw Venom 2 Let the Carnage Begin. Let me just tell you, I'm glad Stan Lee is resting in peace right now. Because there's no way he would have even did a cameo in this garbage of a movie. I wouldn't even flush this down the toilet with my stool. That's how bad this was. I talked about it before. How could you have Venom without Spider-Man? I'm trying to wrap my head around this, and I'm not even going to get into that. When you guys have time, look up a Marvel character named Shriek. She's this woman that screams, and she has mutant-like powers. She was in the movie. Apparently, she was in Spider-Man comics in the 90s. So go figure how she's one of the antagonists in this movie, playing the love interest of Carnage. Imagine Silence of the Lambs and Cletus Cassidy being Jodie Foster. No, I'm sorry. Eddie Brock being Jodie Foster and Cletus Carnage being the Hannibal guy. That's what this movie was. Eddie Brock, a reporter, serial killer. The serial killer just wants to fool around. Oh, I want to see Eddie Brock. So Venom or Cletus wants to see Eddie Brock to tease and play around and say where he's buried these bodies and killed these bodies. And Eddie Brock's like, well, what's the use? Okay, I guess I'll go. So he's telling him all these things. And first of all, Venom is stuck inside of Eddie Brock. Every time he talks, he sounds like Cookie Monster Grover. I can't even take this guy seriously. Every 10 minutes, you got one-liners coming from Venom. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis jokes going back and forth. Eddie Brock can't control Venom. Venom's trying to take over. So Venom tells Eddie Brock, these are where all the killers are that Cassidy has hidden all these bodies or something. So now Cassidy's getting the electric chair. And I'm wondering, why did you even tell Eddie Brock about this then? Cassidy, of course, they talk about his past. He killed his mom, he killed his grandma. He was in a home. They send him to this crazy home like Arkham. He meets Shriek, which is his love interest. They kind of grow up together in a group home, being children, and then they grow up together. She gets put in another home, and he misses her, and he loves her, and this thing was all over the place. Eddie Brock's ex comes back, and she's engaged to someone else. So there's a love triangle. She knows about Venom. Venom and Eddie Brock get tired of each other. Venom can't last in anybody's body except Eddie Brock's for some whatever reason, but they get mad and they leave. And so the symbiote goes on to different bodies, and he finds himself without Eddie, and he goes into a club, and now he finds himself and he says, oh, I've come out now. I've come out from Eddie Brock, and now I just want to be myself. But he can't feel himself being the same without Eddie, so he's weak all the time. In the meantime, let me go back and just let you know how Carnage became Carnage. So during the visit, Eddie Brock's talking to Carnage, and Venom's inside, and Cassidy's, which is Carnage before he turns Carnage. I know this is all over the place. The whole movie was a mess. Anyway, he ends up biting. Venom ends up going and coming out of the back. That's what happens when Carnage and Venom, arm comes out of the back and they grab you before they turn into the. This movie's a mess. I can't even get through the review. Anyway, he bites Eddie Brock. Blood gets on him. He says, this tastes different. This isn't. And so he swallows the blood, and they're going to give him the electric chair, and he busts out, and it becomes Carnage. In the meantime, he's trying to find now the guy that gave him the electric chair, which was Eddie Brock. And Eddie Brock knows he's in trouble, so now he has to find Venom. Well, the ex-girlfriend knows where Venom is, and so she says, hey, Eddie needs you. This guy, Carnage Cassidy's going to come after him and kill him for giving him the electric chair. And he's going to bust his girlfriend out of Arkham or wherever she is and try and get married to her. All this is going on. So Venom tells the ex-girlfriend, no, I'm mad at him, so I don't want to go back. So he gets inside of her body and goes to Eddie Brock and says, I want an apology. So they're apologizing, being bromances. In the meantime, Carnage breaks out his girlfriend, whose name is Shriek, and they go to this chapel to get married. But first they kidnap the ex-girlfriend. So now Eddie Brock and Venom become one. They go and they try and stop Carnage. Once Eddie Brock turns into Venom and sees Carnage, Venom says, I can't do this. He's big and he's red. I'm out of here. Venom gets scared and he's about to run away. And who has to talk him into coming back? Eddie Brock, come on, we're Venom. So then Carnage gets his girlfriend and shows her the girlfriend like he's going to kill her. And Venom says, that's it. Somebody's about to die. Eddie Brock inside of Venom says, that's the spirit. And Venom says, I'm talking about us. What world are we living in when Venom is afraid of Carnage? The whole entire time he's getting beat up. He's buried under the ground and Venom is saying to Eddie Brock inside, I don't think we can beat him. Eddie Brock has to talk the Venom monster up into trying to fight and beat this guy. Then the girlfriend, whose name is Shriek, who has powers of a mutant that can scream, she's screaming because the police coming there starting to shoot at her, so she's screaming, trying to kill the police. In the meantime, while she's screaming, Venom and Carnage are fighting. She screams so loud that the symbiote falls off both of them. So Venom tells her to shut her mouth. Carnage tells her to shut her mouth. And in the meantime, they're fighting and she screams. And then Carnage, who can't stand this woman, is trying to kill her. But inside, Cassidy is saying, leave my wife alone. This stuff is all over the place. The one thing that reminded me of Spider-Man is they start fighting where the little bell rings from the cartoon, the animated cartoon series in the 90s. A bell starts ringing, so the symbiote falls off of both of them. Then the bell stops. Then the symbiote comes on. They start fighting again. Then the bell goes on and it falls off. This is the most stupid, idiotic thing I've ever seen. It took me 2 days to watch this garbage. At some point in time, the bell stops ringing, and then the bell rings, and then the Shriek character yells, and Venom's Venom, and Carnage is Carnage. And then Carnage at one point turns into Cassidy, and Cassidy says, I just wanted to be your friend. And Venom says, F this guy, and bites his head off, and the show goes off. That was what I saw. I didn't watch the credits because I didn't want to know if it was going to be a part 3 because I couldn't bear to sit through that. Somebody please leave a comment in the comment section and tell me they liked something about this movie. That's the Waters rant. I'm sorry.